With his side job as a serial killer, Dexter Morgan has no choice but to be smart. But there were a few times when he slipped up, from almost getting caught to hesitating to execute horrible people. Today, we'll take a look at 10 of Dexter's dumbest moments. Starting with one of Dexter's most impulsive moments. In Season 3, Episode 1, titled Our Father, Dexter picks out a new victim named Fred Bowman, aka Freebo. Freebo's a drug dealer and murderer who didn't get locked up because of a bad warrant. He's the type of guy Dexter takes off the streets. Soon enough, Dexter finds Freebo's house, but when he enters to finish him off, he finds him in a struggle with another man who we later find out is Oscar Prado, Miguel Prado's brother. Dexter's presence shocks Oscar, making him loosen his grip enough for Freebo to escape. Oscar, without missing a beat, immediately turns to Dexter to attack him, managing to knock out one of Dexter's teeth in the process. But Dexter overpowers him and stabs him instead. This particular scene gave us one of the most iconic lines in cinematic history.
Who are you? Who are you?
While the kill was made out of self-defense, it would lead to a situation where Dexter's secret identity could have been exposed. In Season 3, Episode 2, Finding Freebo, Dexter tracks down Freebo and sets up a room in a detached garage. This was a bad idea because unknown to him, Miguel had also tracked Freebo down and was outside in his car while Dexter was busy with Freebo.
Dexter!
Miguel sees Dexter the moment he steps out of the garage, but it isn't until he notices the bloody knife in Dexter's hand that he fully understands the situation. Dexter claims it is self-defense, thinking he is in trouble. After all, Miguel is the assistant district attorney. To his surprise, Miguel hugs him and more or less thanks him for doing what he couldn't.
I'm gonna tell you something. I wasn't sure that I could do this. But you did. You did.
This marked the beginning of an alliance with Miguel that almost cost Dexter everything, but I'll talk more about that later. But imagine for a second if Miguel wasn't on Dexter's side, or if another person had discovered him in the garage. He would have been done for. Killing Oscar Prado was an extremely dumb mistake that could have backfired on him extremely quickly. But even that pales in comparison to the next item on our list. Number 9. Setting up rooms in the dumbest places. While Dexter is an extremely competent killer, he's not as good when it comes to picking good places to set up rooms. One of the most notable being when he killed his brother Brian Moser in Season 1, Episode 12, Born Free.
Sorry. I can't hear you more.
See how he killed Brian in his own apartment, which had already been found by the Miami police earlier in the episode. This made it a dumb choice because anyone from Miami PD could have walked in on him committing the crime. In Season 3, Episode 6, Si Se Puede, Dexter sets up a kill room for Clemson Galt, a leader of the Aryan gang, in a shipping container on a dock with active workers and security personnel. I can't even fathom what was going through Dexter's mind when he set up a kill room in a church for Travis Marshall, aka the Doomsday Killer. He ended up getting caught by the worst person possible.
Get the fuck away from the body.
Deb, it's me,
Who's on the altar?
Travis Marshall.
Dexter, what the fuck?
But I think the dumbest place Dexter ever set up a room is the airport, where he killed Victor Baskov in Season 7, Episode 1, Are You?
I've heard that a lot too.
Why are you doing this?
Because I have to.
An argument can be made for other locations, but the airport was hands down the dumbest place to risk killing a person. If you thought that was dumb, just wait until you see the last moment on the list. But for now, speaking of Victor Baskov, his death put Dexter on the Russian Brotherhood's radar when his boss and lover, Isaac Serko, began investigating his disappearance. Isaac comes to Miami and finds out about this too, so he begins his hunt for Dexter Morgan.
Why were you in my apartment? I was looking to have a discussion about a friend of mine who's gone missing. Victor. I'm sure you remember him.
Isaac stands out among Dexter's antagonists because he is direct in approaching Dexter. He doesn't try to play mind games or manipulate Dexter like Trinity or Brian did. He is straightforward about wanting revenge for Victor's death. It's that simple to him. To show he wasn't playing games, Isaac sends 2 assassins to kill Dexter.
I don't run. I make people run. However, I do run if there's a bull coming after me with an axe.
At another point, he started trouble in a Colombian bar with the intent of having Dexter killed there. And if all of that wasn't enough, he made another attempt when they were in a gay bar, threatened to harm Dexter's son Harrison, and even kidnapped Hannah McKay, Dexter's girlfriend. Eventually though, their relationship blossomed into a pseudo-friendship, which in itself was a dumb decision considering his history of befriending powerful enemies like Miguel.
What are you doing here?
Circumstances on the ground have changed greatly. Koshkas have sent 2 of their own to kill me, and I need your help to stay alive.
You don't seem like someone who needs help.
Even a man dangling from a cliff will stretch out a hand to his worst enemy.
It was a risky move that put his family in harm's way, and worst of all, he had a couple of opportunities to kill Isaac before he got anywhere close to his girlfriend and kids. Overall, letting Isaac live was just a dumb decision that was made even worse by him not taking any of the numerous chances he was given to eliminate him. But that was not the only time Dexter let a potential threat live for too long.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Dokes was a special case because of the professional relationship he had with Dexter. Dexter, as an employee of the Miami Police Department, understood that he couldn't off Dokes recklessly. But from a purely strategic perspective, Dexter should have killed Dokes much sooner.
I knew there was something wrong with you. The secrets, the sneaking around. Now it all makes sense.
Dexter had multiple chances to kill Dokes when he first started following him. He could have eliminated him before Dokes gathered significant evidence. He had opportunities before Dokes discovered the blood slides.
It's time to make Dokes go away.
Keeping Dokes alive in the cabin was as dumb as it was risky. It gave La Guerta time to investigate his disappearance and allowed Leela to discover Dokes and kill him, which made things messier than Dexter planned. Dexter hesitated because he respected Dokes as a colleague despite their differences. Dokes was an innocent person by Dexter's code. Killing him would have been Dexter's first major code violation. Still, not killing him was dumb, especially because La Guerta never fully believed Dokes was the butcher. This eventually led to La Guerta's investigation years later. And that's not the only time he befriended the wrong person. And Dexter forgot one major rule. There's no such thing as a partner for a serial killer. And Dexter learns this the hard way when Miguel Prado betrays him. Their partnership was a ticking time bomb from the very beginning. As I said earlier, Miguel's position as ADA and his family's connection made it risky for Dexter to befriend him. His personality was also a risk factor. He was extremely emotional and vengeful.
I'll do what I want, when I want, to whomever I want. Count on it!
I will. He couldn't stick to Dexter's code or follow basic rules, had anger management issues, and showed signs of being manipulative from the start. He even killed Ellen Wolf, an innocent defense attorney, just because she opposed him professionally. Everything about Miguel went against Dexter's code, yet he was dumb enough to keep the friendship because he was convinced that Miguel understood him on a deep level. In much the same way, partnering with Zach Hamilton was a terrible idea for multiple reasons. Dexter's track record with students is terrible. Miguel Prado turned against him and had to be killed. Lumen left once she got her revenge. His own brother Brian showed how dangerous sharing the family secret could be. He had a consistent pattern of failed mentorships, yet ignored these warning signs. Zach's instability was a dead giveaway of how dumb Dexter was to team up with him. He killed an innocent woman just because he was angry at his father. He couldn't follow basic instructions or maintain discretion. Besides, it was the worst time for Dexter to think of starting his serial killer boot camp. Dexter was dealing with the fallout from Hannah McKay. Vogel was manipulating the situation. Miami Metro was actively investigating Zach for murder. Even if Dexter wanted to ignore other reasons to not take Zach under his wing, the fact that Zach knew too much about Dexter's methods and identity was enough to drop him. He also documented his kills with photography, creating evidence. The whole situation showed Dexter's poor judgment. He essentially tried to start a killer internship program while his own life was already complicated enough, and that was very dumb. Partnering with Zach was not the only time Dexter didn't learn from his mistakes. His slides were an important aspect of his identity as a serial killer. He should have dropped the habit of keeping souvenirs, especially since Dokes found them, leading to Lundy finding them as well, which almost blew his cover. But Dexter keeps storing the slides of his victim's blood as part of his killing ritual, and this was how Deb realized he was a serial killer.
Did you kill all these people?
I did.
Are you a serial killer?
Yes.
If he had simply thrown away the slides, Deb would have only been aware of him killing Travis. Dexter also made dumb decisions in his romantic life.
Can I help you?
Ms. McKay?
That's right.
He meets Hannah McKay for the first time in Season 7, Episode 3, and not too long after begins to date her. Dating Hannah McKay was one of Dexter's worst decisions for multiple reasons. She had already tried to kill Deborah by poisoning her with aconite in her water bottle.
You told me to call you when I ran that water you brought in. That water is like 40% alprazolam. That's an anti-anxiety drug.
It was no accident. Hannah poisoned Deborah.
Yet Dexter continued the relationship despite this direct attack on his sister. Hannah was known to poison people and had done so to several people, including her first husband and Beverly Gray. Unlike Dexter's code, killings of murderers, she killed for convenience and self-preservation. Still, Dexter pursues a relationship with her, and this puts him at odds with Deb, who was already struggling with the emotional and moral weight of knowing Dexter's secret. The conflict between Hannah and Deb forced Dexter to constantly choose between them. Dating Hannah compromised Dexter's judgment. He started making emotional decisions rather than logical ones, which was dangerous given his hobby. She knew too much about his kills and activities, making her a permanent liability. Given her history of turning on people close to her when threatened, this was extremely risky. Moreover, their relationship drew unwanted attention from law enforcement, particularly when Hannah escaped custody and Dexter was suspected of helping her. But perhaps most importantly, Hannah represented everything Dexter claimed to stand against with his code. Though, there is still one moment that is more dumb than anything else that Dexter has done. Without a doubt, letting Trinity live was his dumbest mistake. Dexter made so many mistakes when it came to Arthur Mitchell, aka the Trinity Killer. Befriending him was dumb. Playing cat and mouse with him was dumb. Not killing him was a bad decision, but the dumbest one had to be not letting him kill himself like he wanted to in Season 4, Episode 8, Roadkill.
Give me your hand.
He was at first intrigued by how Trinity could be a good father and husband, how he was able to come off as a good person and live a normal life while being an undetected sadistic serial killer for 30 plus years. Because of this, he gets involved with Trinity on a personal level and realizes quickly that wasn't the case. Eventually, Dexter would realize that to be the worst decision of his life.
Hello, Dexter Morgan.
A fan on Reddit said it beautifully. Dexter wanted to learn to be more human from Trinity, but sadly learned too late he was actually more human than Trinity.